All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with the last matchup of the day. As you see behind me, we have the Florida Mutineers facing off against the Los Angeles Guerrillas. And heading into this matchup, I mean, let's break it down. Nameless. When it comes to Los Angeles Guerrillas, man, there just seems to be so much hope for this team, and we see the potential day after day. And even from the first day that we saw them in Texas, they put up a great show, man, but we're just waiting to see them really blossom as a unit.
Yeah, we've seen some fantastic moments from LAG, right? Like, especially in hardpoint. They were one of the better hardpoint teams that we had going into the major, and they put so much focus on their search and destroy, which indeed did get better. They started to lose hardpoint, and they fell down the ranks in terms of hold percentage, which is just not great. They lost 2 of them to the London Royal Ravens, who granted had a hot weekend, but LAG had just played them and beat them in 2 hardpoints in the series a week ago online in the qualifiers. So for LAG, man, like, this is a team that has a ton of potential, and there were good signs. We saw Huke step it up. We saw Slasher step it up, but then he kind of tailored off in the next series after that. So they just need to find consistency. But for the game fuel keys to victory, they need to find more success on hill setups. 11th in hold percentage, that's not going to cut it. And with that, they're still 7 and 5 in hardpoint. So they definitely know what they're doing. Just have to get better at holding. Then retakes have to be better in search and destroy. Tied for 11th in neutral retake percentage in those 4v4, 3v3 situations. The retakes have not been great. That has to be improved. And then fixed defensive control issues, last in defensive win rate at 62%. We've seen how overpowered defense can be in control on this game. Those have to be lockdown rounds, especially early on. You can't be giving up offenses.
Yeah, and I got to be completely honest, LAG put out they put out my favorite performance in day one. I'm not gonna lie, man, seeing Gunless pop off, especially Huke warm up, that is something special, but they're gonna have to definitely bring it against a team that is gonna be facing against them. When it comes to Florida Mutineers, yes, we saw them in Texas as well with the loss to the Boston Breach, but still though, there were great performances all around. Unfortunately, they weren't able to walk away with the W though, but Big Wake went nuclear.
Well, you know what? These are 2 really high-slaying teams going at each other, very aggressive teams. Yeah. But the difference is, Florida, even though they're high in slaying, they're going to have to go against a team like LAG that is an explosive team. To me, that is a very big difference because Big Wake has a 1.85 in hardpoint, and they are still struggling to win respawn. So when it comes to game fuel keys to victory for Florida, they're 11th in non-traded kill percentage. Again, like that stat I just said, Owakening is 1.85 in hardpoint. You need to be able to trade him out. Holding hills has been an issue. 9th in hold percentage as well. But again, LAG has been struggling there. They are 11th in hold percentage. So, and again, it's the 2 aggressive teams going straight head to head. And win the coin flip. Florida is 3-1 in Tuscan control. LAG is 0-2. So at least try and guarantee yourself in a map in the map pool.
You got that right. And I like what you said. These are 2 very high-powered slaying teams. I mean, I can imagine Vivid right now getting another 80 interactions when it comes to hardpoint. Nameless, we might have to put some money on that again to see that guy pop off. Not again. But when it comes to pick'ems, I'm going to have to be completely honest. You guys see it on your boy's face right here. When it comes to both of these teams, I'm rocking with LAG. Why? Because the heat that they were bringing in Texas, I mean, it was undeniable. The boys definitely have star power behind them, and I'm going to be real, man. Once the scene warms up, there seems to be nothing out there that could stop them. The sub-machine duo is fantastic. But you know what? Enough from us. Let's go ahead and send it over to the game. It's going to be Lando and Steady. Fellas, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Vela. Yes, it is going to be our final game here to kick off opening day, right, for our Major II qualifiers. We've got a great game to lock things up. What, Jay? Both teams off of top 12 finishes at the OpTic Texas Major. It's old school versus new school. We appreciate everybody who has had perfect attendance so far in watching all of our games today. I know we take a look at the map pool here in just a moment, but give me your initial thoughts. Mutineers versus Guerrillas. How important is it for 2 teams who basically just finished last place to have a hot start now at Major II?
It's definitely important for both of these teams to come out and try to get their very first victory. Obviously, on the side of LAG, just a tough major. You go up against London in your very first series. You ended up clutching up in the 2 and the 3, but you just simply couldn't win a hard point. You also lost that game 5. And in the next series, they play Minnesota, who were playing lights out, and they just got 3-0, sent home packing nice and early. And on the opposite side for Florida, they waited until Friday to run into a Boston Breach team and lose all the way in the game 5 search and destroy. So that tells me for at least both of these teams, the main thing that I have to focus on in this series has to be that S&D. When you take a look at our maps and modes, a lot of these these maps that they've played, it basically can go 50-50 on either one of these, but it comes down to the search and destroys for me. The Game 5 Berlin S&D is the only search and destroy for both of these teams that they have actually picked up some success on, got a couple wins there. Every single map, every other map in S&D, they're all sitting on a donut. So feels like this series is going to go back and forth, at least early into the series. We might be pushing in Game 5 for me.
Yeah, man. I mean, you and I have kind of outlined this series already. We get the map vetoes just before, obviously, you know, everybody on social figures them out, or before we obviously have them displayed here on the broadcast. But you and I have kind of laid it out, right? It looks as if this series does have the legs to get to a Game 5. And the most important part about this is that both teams arguably have matches up next that are winnable for them. A W here doesn't obviously give them a 2-0 advantage, but it could set them up for that. We're starting things off the Bocage Hardpoint, followed up by a Tuscan Search Destroy and Tuscan Control. And to close it out, if it can go the distance, we've got Berlin Hardpoint and that good old Berlin Search Destroy, which you just talked about, my friend, the only Search Destroy map that either of these teams have won on. Something's got to give. Somebody's got to win a Tuscan Search Destroy today, a Search Destroy that is not named Berlin. And it could be these 4 that we see on screen, or that 4, who knows?
I don't know, but we're going to get into a mixy Bocage Hardpoint to start us off. And if it's anything like the last series that we just had, Big Cap breaking the kill record with 56 kills. A player that can definitely do the same exact thing has to be Vivid, because he was the guy who set the kill record originally with 46. So I'm just looking at that guy to make sure his pacing is on point. But on a map like Bocage, or at least both of these teams, the one thing that I took away with when I went back and looked at the numbers, shout out to Carson, biggest thing for me on the side of Florida is that their team KD on this map is sitting at like a 1.1. On the opposite side for LAG, since they don't really have a big sample size of them playing this map, as they're only sitting at 0-1, the one time that they did play it, their team KD was a 0.66. So that tells me right off the rip, if they're not going to be able to keep up in the slaying department against Florida, Florida should be able to walk away with this map number 1.
Yeah, and I want to say too, in regards to Bocage Hardpoints, which that one will be up in just a few moments. In regards to just opening hardpoints in general, I want to say that all the W's that the Mutineers have had this season have come from a Game 1 hardpoint. I could be speaking out of term, and Carson could be, you know, going crazy right now, but at least I know it previously, like in Cold War, that was also a thing for this Mutineers roster. And I got to say, Jay, I know it's a battle of old school versus new school, right? For the Mutineers, some new faces over the past few years. For the LAG side, I mean, literally veterans up and across the board. Yeah. When it comes down to this series, it feels like both of these rosters are almost labeled as wild cards, like a team that you could easily see beat one of the top teams in the game and then just instantly falter. I don't know, man. It should be a fun series. I've seen a lot of people be like, okay, my pick'ems for this match, let's flip a coin and just see where it lands. And I gotta say, I'm kind of in that boat as well.
Yeah, it's up in the air for me as well, man, because when you look at it, LAG, at least before the major even started, they went up against London in that previous matchup, and they were able to take both series and actually beat them in a 3-1 fashion. But then you get to the major and you lose all the way to a Game 5. So it's like a hit or miss with these guys. But the thing that they need to keep on focus has to be their search and destroy. Before they went into that major, they were sitting at 7-2 in hardpoint. You played some tough matchups, obviously going up against London. The one hardpoint that you play up against Minnesota now puts them on a 3-game loss streak in HP. But this is a team full of veterans, like you said. They should know how they want to execute certain game plans, especially in the game mode like Hardpoint. The biggest thing that this team needs to work on, obviously, has to be that S&D.
Yeah, without question. Both teams looking to fix search destroys. Both teams as well trying to start off this Hardpoint in the best way possible. Let's go and take a look at our top performers so far throughout this season in Vanguard. It is Gunless for the LAG side, posting a nice 1.07, but on the other end, it is Big Wake, a 1.27. That is the #1 KD in the entirety of the CDL right now, Jay.
Yeah, the guy's an absolute beast, and he definitely was able to boost that stat up a little bit in that one hardpoint Tuscan versus Boston, and they ended up losing it. That was outslayed by 53 kills. If you're Florida, that one definitely is going to be sitting in the back of your mind. If you're picking up all these kills, you need to make sure that you're linking that up with a bunch of time, because in that map, they should have at least been able to close it out in that series versus Boston, especially when you outslight by that much. But we know how to mix it the cage you can get. Let's get into it.
Yeah, baby. It's going to be a fun one. We're taking a look at the KDs for both sides and take a look at those numbers. Awakening, it says #2 overall on the season. We're talking about #1 in Hardpoint. Big Wake has been having a fantastic start to Vanguard. We'll see if the rest of the teams, the teammates, can pick it up. You notice Vivid not sitting in the greatest overall numbers department, but this has been his map, right? He just lost the kill record right there 2 big cap. We'll see if he can put on an all-star performance as we are in toward P1.
And here we go. aBeZy starting off with a nice 2 early kills. A lot of pressure coming in from LAG as they are going to have the favorable spawn towards that lower trenches side. But the fact that they're putting a lot of pressure onto this middle of the map, towards bottom grandmas, and linking into a bunch of time, at least 9 seconds to start us off. It's a good starting point for LAG. Just want to make sure you keep these spawns for that P2 as the pressure from Florida is starting to be on point. Vivid finds 2, aBeZy with the 3rd. So now they're able to at least tie this game up, but the main focal point has to be on rotating off of these spawns. Number 1 in Owakening wins a huge one-on-one towards low trenches as Vivid is finding kill after kill and towards bottom barn. Spawns are still there though for LAG.
You can feel it. Vivid's aware. He's like, okay, I just saw Big Cat do that. I gotta try and put on a performance of my own. Already off to a 5-2 start on this Bocage. And Jay, I actually went back and looked at the numbers as it will be LAG currently inside of P2. Right now, when we're talking about Bocage hardpoint, players who are leading in engagements, it is Vivid right now at 6 engagements per minute. So that basically means that he is getting in an engagement every 10 seconds. This guy loves to get in the mix, so we'll see if the Guerrillas can try and handle that as Huke on the other end now finds himself on 4, pushing out the spawns and then some. For the Mutineers, despite that fast-paced play, it doesn't mean anything if you can't see the hard point. A great start at field for the Guerrillas and 20 valuable points still left.
Just a great hold coming in from LAG to hold down this time and then just put a lot of pressure in towards bottom grandmas. Huke was on a 5-3 before he eventually gets taken down, but Florida, with about 25 seconds left, are able to break right on through from the front side. Only being down by 10-point Vivid. He's definitely on pace for that kill record. We're only at P2. He's already got 11 to his name. 36-41 right now. LAG still have the lead, but Florida with the spawns are going to take it right back. Can they hold the push up?
The question to ask. Mutineers very well experienced on a map like this. They love to have their main man Vivid go off on a map like this. I mean, I think it's been their last 5 series. They've had a Bocage hardpoint, at least in the vetoes, whether or that, at least playing it. They've got themselves a slim advantage. They've also got themselves the spawns, but they get slayed out for a moment, and just like that, LAG break their way on forward. But who other than Vivid? 3 engagements in that particular situation. He walks away with 2 kills, and that allows now for Skies to soak up the seconds. But here comes the Guerrillas. Of course, as we like to call it on bottom grandmas, it is all out chaos. Mutineers walking away with the majority of those fights, though. Huke toward the back end, at least trying to apply some pressure on the spawns, but that's not going to make all the difference in this hill. Now toward barn we go. LAG set up.
You have a couple players from Florida trying to attack at least to the map. Look at number 4, Vivid. He's able to sneak his way through the backside of the tank. Unfortunately, he is going to get taken down, so that could have been the play that was going to be made on the side of Florida for breaking in, but Gunless shuts it down with 3 of his own. So now Spawn still in control of LAG. You have all of Florida spawning out towards top plat. aBeZy was able to find 2 Vivid with the unfortunate team nade. But they're able to break on into this hard point. Just trying to hold down this push. aBeZy finds 1. And one thing that I really like to talk about, at least with LAG, is when a majority of the time when they're winning these hard points, aBeZy is the guy that's always being the playmaker. Right now sitting at 12-9 so far, starting off this game hot.
Yeah, it's going to be a conversation throughout the rest of this series, right? It's going to be a player like him, his performance, right? There's a number of different guys that we talked about for the LAG side. And another one that you could also bring up, Jay, is going to be Slasher, a guy that I know that you know very, very well, did not have a great performance at that major, specifically in their last game versus the Minnesota Røkkr. Post like a 0.5 KD. Not the game that you would expect. A lot of people talked about how if he is the right player for this team, a roster that he basically composed himself, a team that he put together, as he now sits on 4 in a row, maybe putting action to those words. A solid little moment here for LAG. Back and forth we go, but they've got the advantage for the time. Let's step aside and see how those comms sound on what is a very mixy map. Let's go to a listen with the Guerrillas.
I'm trying to pick up our back house. They could go top attic though.
I'm dead.
We can go mid-street.
I'm gonna follow
Mid-street, Caesar.
Be up.
Hit my nade, I'm one shot.
I have an age deep front.
Yeah, no, I'm pushing.
Deep front behind the tank. Deep front behind the tank.
Yeah, I'm playing top
2 away
attic.
from streaks. He's on the tank. I'm one away from streaks.
They're back tables, one bullet.
Give us time. Go help him.
I'm one bullet.
I've
One
got
away
it.
now.
Back
Look my
stables.
close right. Look my close
I'll see him
right.
stables right.
My
Close
timing.
right.
He's definitely
Here,
stables.
pay for me in the back left.
I'm here.
Don't see back left speaking. Could be FaZe.
I don't know where these guys are. I'm just camping top right
He's
now.
on the hay. He's on the hay.
I'm just camping top. Get kills.
He's holding the back down. On team up, that's
I'm here.
streaking.
Oh,
spawning.
much I went
Spawn
down.
out, spawn out. Take your time.
Back left, back left.
Too
Nice
hot,
streaks,
too
nice
hot, too
streaks.
hot.
Nice streaks. Got me.
One more head, one more head, one more head, one more head.
Don't be on
Wake one to hill.
BFS.
Wake one to hill. Yes. Wake one to hill.
Let's go BFS.
Don't see no
Nice streak
time.
for
He's
Nero.
below me
Nice streak for Nero.
somewhere.
Let's go.
Below me, Awakening.
B hop, one shot.
Okay, I'm needing
He
it.
ran away, he ran away, he ran away.
I need a
Water.
top B up.
He ran away water, guys.
Yeah,
This guy gay, bro.
Going up mid
Yo,
street.
he's top A. Top A Awakening.
So they got
Bottom house.
trying to go water right now.
Child, one bullet.
Let's see, they got
Caesar,
water
one bullet
peeking.
on time. Caesar, one
I'm
bullet
gonna
on
go
time.
top
Any
A.
on time?
Yeah, yes.
He's
Caesar
one
was one bullet front house.
Bottom house, got
God
tank.
tank, God
Somebody
tank.
help me left.
Wait.
He's hot,
Can you help me
he's
with God tank?
he's in hot dead.
I don't see him.
Got
Got
three.
Last guy got
Walking
tank.
water.
Hey, back to my time,
back to my time.
2010,
My
guys.
time,
2010.
Two
God
tank
tank,
dead. I'll get
They're dead in the back. One bullet in the back. Back right. Got
Calm, cool, and collected out of the vets. They've got themselves a 40-plus point advantage right now here on Bocage. Gunless has got streaks, and we'll see if the train will continue to roll for LAG. On the other end, let's go ahead and check in now with the comms from the Young Guns. Let's go to a listen now with the Mutineers.
I'm looking over you, They got him? They're gliding.
I'm pitching right. Go right, dead.
I'm getting a barn.
That was mid, go in right.
Alright.
I hear you. How much my L? I know.
Pulling bottom barn.
One's going right though. Hey, they can go front. Nobody has front.
Yeah, I know.
I think in the back.
Top barn.
In the back.
Yeah, top barn.
Top barn
Now weak.
Deep in the back already.
Back. Nice.
Absolute Q1 door. Yo, back over.
Flip.
Jason's bottom, Jason's bottom.
On the tree. T3
One
dead.
bar and 10.
Yeah, I need
Top barn. I think pitching P1 and one's 10.
Hey, bro,
Pin challenge.
Chop
Went down the hill.
Yeah, I need him, bro. Oh, yeah, you want AC blood, fast. Nice. 10 Austin, really weak. Watch out.
I'm trying to get time.
Right over.
Yo, wait, 20 seconds, guys. Do not fucking overplay this.
Go.
10, bro. 10.
That's on left.
I need two.
I need left.
Back up. Be careful, Jeff.
I'm looking mid. What could we got through already?
Yeah, I know. Deep right's open. Get a tunnel.
There's two.
I've left. I'll get to it in 2 seconds.
You have left?
They can be top. Asian could be in the back, guys.
While Mutineers find themselves down in the game, it appears as if the information that's being displayed is somewhat accurate. You see, I think it was Skies in particular, Jade, leading through the communication saying, hey, 20 seconds left. Let's not push this. Let's focus on this next hill. We'll see if the Mutineers will get that strategy to pay off. 30 seconds down, and this could be the hill where they bring this one back.
Yeah, comms are cleans on both sides. Even when we were there for that LAG listening, you heard that Gunless. He was like, hey, I'm one off streaks. And Asum, being the guy that was on the hill, was like, hey, somebody pick up the hill. I'm going to go help him pick up these streaks because they know how impactful that can be. You saw the way that Florida, they were able to dodge it, though. The glide bomb wasn't even impactful for that P2 hard point on the side of Florida. Like you said, Sky's really leading the pack, just saying, hey, it's only 20 seconds left. Let's not be too over-aggressive here. We need to have a Money Hill bounce back on this Grandmas, and that has been the answer, as they are only down by now 10 points. They were able to hold the initial at least 30 and flip these spawns in the final 10 seconds. But you see the pressure coming in from LAG. They were to break in, and now with Asum and Huke working their way off the rotations, Huke is going to influence through those spawns to spawn back stables.
Yeah, that was a big 1v1. Huke wins that. He instantly pushes through for those spawns now at Barn. We'll see if it works out for them, as it will be the Mutineers staring directly into the spawns of where LAG continue to spawn on up, but they will continue to keep falling back on down. Mutineers pressuring the back as they've got all the pressure inside of the Barn for the moment. Big 1v1 between Vivid and Asim potentially up next. Vivid takes it, now finds himself on 3 in a row, and after what was a great opener for the Guerrillas, a solid advantage, it's now the Mutineers who are walking away with these final few seconds. LAG, they get the back spawns, and really, if you're Mutineers, you're okay with that potentially. The final 15 is going to still be a battle, but now it's going to be a race over toward Waterside. First player that's going to be there is Gunless. LAG still nearby. It looked like a spawn flip was going to be in, but the Mutineers now on the disadvantageous side for this next hill. We'll see what the Guerrillas can do with it, but take a look at Big Wake. Some great numbers so far, trying to be also clever over toward the tank. He wins the fight versus Slasher, instantly gets brought back down. First person on the hill will be a Florida player. As LAG, they've got to be careful with the time. They've got to be careful in getting these seconds in their favor and not allowing for the Mutineers to control hard point time as Gunless takes down Dave.
And right now, Florida, they're just doing a great job of just keeping them off this time. They're putting so much pressure in towards back tower. Before Vivid dropped, he was able to pick up a two-piece in their spawn as well. So finally, LAG are able to slow down the game, pick up a couple kills, and able to get on towards this point. They will not be able to take this lead here. Their main focus is on definitely trying to flip these spawns just in case it gets towards that P2 hardpoint. But 2 minutes left in this game, we would definitely see that 250 mark be breached. As TJHaly off the rotation, he's able to flip those spawns for his team. Down 15 points are going to be LAG. They just need to at least put together a couple kills because look at number 3. Skies is so far pushed up in grandmas. He's going to be able to influence these spawns, so just continuously spawn him at tower.
Well, this is a great setup. This is a great setup right now for the Mutineers. They know exactly where LAG are going to be coming from. As Vivid, nice turn on for the third. 25 left before the Mutineers can call this game one theirs. Some big fights going down over at the water side as Dave is thinking long term, winning the fights versus Gunless to try and secure spawns for next, but it may not even get there. We may not even have to have that P2 hill. LAG have got to try and contest this, but every single time they get an opportunity, the door shuts right in their face. 2 down as Slasher is they able to find a double, as they will stall the game, and the Guerrillas will hop on the time exactly when they need to. Take a look at player 7. Asim trying to make his way around the back. Mutineers are going to be aware of it. A big 1v1 to take an Awakening, winning the fights toward the back while LAG trying to establish themselves almost a checkpoint, if you will, inside a barn. A 15-point game.
And right now, it's so mixed. These spawns are coming in from Florida, back stables, low trenches. But look at number 6. He's trying to make the game-winning play, which is going to be Gunless. Works his way around the back. Who finds one? Gunless finds 2. aSim finds a 3rd as well. They're able to flip these spawns on their head. And now LAG, 220 and counting, are going to be able to flip these spawns. They just had to shut down this player in number 1. Awakening, going to be the player that spawns low trenches. He's going to be try to be the guy that flips these spawns or cause havoc. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You have 2 Florida players spawning towards back stables. They're eventually able to break on in. They should be able to close it out here.
It looks like they could. It looks like they could. Vivid catching him off spawn. That's going to be 1. At least put some shots into Slasher. The farthest 2 pushed up players are going to drop. Only a few more seconds. Huke is going to slide on in. Huke is in. He stops the time. 2:49 to 2:30. And Florida are dying. They're dying off of the hill. It's going to be a race toward our next hard point. It's a 2 versus 2 inside of next, but LAG are here. Florida 1 point away, and they get the second. They win the team fight. They find the second that they were looking for. But boy, was it a test. LAG gave it everything they had, but Mutineers halted at field. They get the 1 second at bottom grandmas. And somehow, some way, they walk away with the opening Bocage hardpoint. We talked about how important the opener was, and Florida are able to grab it with Vivid, dropping 36, and Awakening dropping 34.
What an insane first hardpoint to start this series. It was back and forth, came down to that final P3 bottom Grandma's Hill. But I feel like at the end of that P2, like that is where the game changed, because LAG, they were set up for it beautifully. They were able to pick up that kill on the flank. They were able to find another 2 kills, but then that one player who stays alive towards the middle of the map, he influences those spawns to continuously allow his teammates to spawn low trenches. Once Awakening was able to work his way to the back, he allows his teammates to eventually spawn on him, and then they set up on the pinch. So LAG, they put themselves in a position where on P2 we gotta contest or we're gonna be able to lose this first map. They were able to find all 3 kills. And now if you're LAG, the only thing you're thinking about is that rotation. They were able to find a couple kills going back and forth, but then eventually Florida Mutineers just had a couple more players set up on that rotation. A player pitches through the front door, a player pitches through the back window. All they needed is 1 second to close out such an insane mixy map number 1 between both of these teams. What a great hardpoint to start this series, man.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see, man. The cage is crazy. And there you see the final little moments, right, where Huke's able to stay alive. It felt like LAG with the rotation, with these plays. It could have been different. A few 1v1s go differently. I mean, what if Slasher wins that fight? I mean, there's so many different little situations that occur on a map like Bocage. But as you said, partner, the plays over at P2, the player for the Mutineers who got spawns, allowed for field to be that much more difficult for the Guerrillas, makes one of the more defining plays on this map. And that is how it will go. Bocage hardpoint continues to be a strong one for the Mutineers. As we said, they played it in their last 6 series. I mean, what, Jay? This was a team that nobody thought was going to be playing Bocage with the amount of AR talent that they've got, but it appears that it's the exact opposite. A 1 point down, 145 to 93. They bring it back. They grab game 1. And now who knows what's going to happen in this next Tusk and Search Destroy.
Yeah, this next toss in the search and destroy is going to be up in there for both of these teams, as they're both sitting at 0-2, have yet to find any success for both of these rosters. But just based on that map number 1, if you go back to that Bocage and just watch the way that Florida have been playing it throughout this entire year, they have 2 losses on it. So right now they're sitting at 4-2. The 2 losses that they do have is a 20-point loss and a 1-second loss that went to Toronto Ultra.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure if I'm any team going forward, I would not want to play Florida on a Bocage hard. But when you take a look at our top performers in search and destroy, none other than Huke and Skies. Obviously for LAG, Huke is the guy when it comes to this mode. He's their playmaker in S&D, sitting at a 1.06 in this game mode. But like I said, just based off what we saw at the Major, they were able to clutch up in that game to search and destroy versus London. But then when it gets to the game 5, that is where they really struggled.
Yeah.
And then in the very next series versus Minnesota, they lost that initial hard point. And then once they lose that search and destroy, Minnesota were able to control that they were going to play and ended up dropping there as well. So this is the main focus point for LAG. We obviously expect them to be a great hardpoint team. They fall very short, only by 10 points in that map number 1. But this is where they need to show improvements as a roster.
Yeah, without question. I think, to be honest with you, I feel like it has to be a solid performance for both of these teams, especially if they want to compete, right? If they want to get out of wherever you have them in the power rankings, if they want to elevate themselves and truly contend, it's going to have to be a better performance than the search destroys. I mean, what, for both of these teams, I'm pretty sure they sit at 11th and 12th, respectively, in the overall records. Their only W's come on Berlin. And I feel like coming into the year, these were 2 teams who we thought would actually be top performers in the search destroy, right? Consider that LAG, group of veterans, some great search destroy talent on that roster. I mean, we know what the Florida Mutineers have been able to do in search destroy previously with guys like Big Wake and Skies, and then you bring in some great minds like Vivid and Dave Patty into the mix. It's almost surprising to see both of these teams not just not playing well in search destroy, but at the bottom of the barrel in general.
Yeah, on the side of Florida, when you talk about their S&D gameplay, I feel like they always find themselves in a man advantage, and then they throw away that man advantage and eventually get clutched on. That's basically been the story of Florida this entire season so far. On the opposite side for LAG, when you talk about their search and destroy, the way that they play is very textbook, old school kind of S&D, is where early into these rounds, they're just going to just allow the map to be played by just basically spreading the map out, seeing how the opposite team wants to play, and basically starting off with that slow pacing. And when you go up against a team like Atlanta FaZe or a team like Minnesota Røkkr who can change that on an instant, that's where we see teams like LAG really struggle in this mode. So here we go into the Tuscan Berry round number 1. Look at the pressure coming in from LAG on the defensive side. They try to take control to the middle of the map. They were able to win a majority of these trades and take the man advantage 3v2 now.
Dave still with the sniper out. Obviously, it has been a very quick opening Tuscan search destroy. Round number 1, which is what you like to expect on a map like this. But as you said, partner, LAG with great information off the rip. Dave Patty trying to come around the corner with the snipe. Now it's only going to leave Skies in a 1 versus 3. And he's ready. If anyone comes top church, you're getting beamed. Top broken, you're getting beamed. Only problem is that there's nobody there, Jay. Not a single soul.
1v3, bomb's gonna be down right in front of aSim's feet. And look at the way that LAG are playing this. He's going to go for the challenge on the first, but aSim reads it. Beautiful plays coming in from LAG. And I said it before the even map started. It's all about setting the tone. The fact that LAG on their very first defense, they said, hey, majority of these teams like to go towards A, probably work a quick plant, but we're going to start off this defensive round by just full-on attacking through middle. You put Gunless in towards top church, which basically shuts down that top fire, that middle aDeLeY push. You allow both of your SMGs in Huke and aSim to take control of the middle map, to attack through that A-bomb, open up with that initial gunfight, and then put themselves in a great position to close out the round. That's exactly how you want to start the search and destroy if you're LAG.
We'll see if they can only stack on it. Now in their attack, 3 strong through the field. Go the Mutineers. Nades exchanged either which side. Tacticals aplenty, but it's Vivid who's able to answer off the rip. Over through you we go, and Vivid trying to make Tuscan look a lot like Bocage. He was ready to fly. Did that in the opener. We'll see if he can help lead the charge, and the Mutineers grabbing their first round in this search destroy. But take a look at this rotation. Vivid primely sitting through middle of the map, and it's pretty much crickets through the middle side of Tuscan. These Italian streets, somewhat vacant for the moment, but it's Huke who's inside of your base doing the damage. Now brings it to a 3 versus 3, and it's aSim to lay down the objective.
Now with 45 seconds left, this play all comes down to the information that Huke was able to provide this round. So now in a 3v3, if you're Florida, you know that Huke is going to be playing the position in the back of your spawn. Probably want to go for the double challenge here as Dave Patty's going to slowly peek with the sniper. Not able to line up that shot, but Huke's able to get out with his life. Vivid does find one. aBeZy eventually does find that trade. Now it's all left up to Huke in a 1v2.
And 18 seconds to play with. He absolutely has got the chance to do it, but at the up-close engagement, Vivid is able to secure it. It will be the ace in the round for Vivid. Started things off hot, and he will end it just as strong. A great round for Vivid, and what looked to be a phenomenal rotation play out of the Guerrillas, Jay.
Yeah, I thought that round from LAG was flawless. Like, when you pick up all that information from Huke, to wrap that back towards B, he picks up a kill before you get this bomb plant. Now in the 3v3 retake, Huke is basically focusing 2 players in the back of their spawn. They allowed Vivid to just basically shut down their entire play just now. He was able to work his way into church, find the first, find the second, and then eventually find the third to close out the round. The young man came to answer early into this search and destroy. Anything you can do, I can do better. And he did it by himself, tied at 1 apiece.
That's a great sign if you're a Mutineers fan. I mean, we've talked about it a lot, right? A number of different Florida players performing in different modes, whether it's hardpoint, whether it's control. Vivid somewhat lackluster so far in Major 1, but we know the talent that this guy can possess, right? Got brought in for the Dallas Empire in Cold War, has got that explosive potential. And take a look at this play from the Mutineers. They go 4 strong into B. Nobody from LAG catches a whiff of this. And now it's time for the retake. The numbers that have been talked about already. LAG 11th in positions like this. We'll see if this round in particular can be different.
4v4 retake on this B bomb. This play's all going to come down to Huke. He was able to wake his way all the way through that back flank. But there's only 25 seconds left. Gunless is able to at least find one. But the trade is going to be there. When Huke's going on the flank, look at number 3. It's going to be Skies. Skies going to be the player to come up behind him. Owakening does find 2. Skies finds the 3rd. Now it's all left up to Slasher. He's going to be the last player left up towards Plat. Such a clean round coming in from Florida. But on the side of LAG, how do they not pick up that information a lot sooner? You have 2 players who are basically still at A, even when the bomb is planted at this B bomb. You do not see any action, at least towards the middle of the map, towards that A site. You gotta know that they're going towards B. They just wasted way too much time on the 4v4 retake to allow eventually a couple Florida players to make plays. Skies, with that repinch, was able to close out that round for Florida. Beautiful offensive round.
Like, hey, Slasher, you hear anything? No. Gunless, you hear anything? No, I don't hear anything either. I think they rotated. B, guys. Yeah, I think they went to B, and by that time, it's not necessarily over, but obviously sets up the Mutineers for some success. Go for the off play, and it works out for Mutineers now up 2-1, as we'll see what LAG elect to do on this attack. It is Huke established in P5, and somewhat uncontested. A lot of the time, you're going to see 2 players battling it out over at the command center. Vivid, though, going to lean into hanging out inside a middle, and that strategy not going to work out well for him. Met with the first blood, but Owakening is at least able to even things on out. And Huke, despite not getting pressured, as we said, Vivid's not there. Huke realizes that there could be an opening, pressures through the back, takes down Owakening, and with that, it is LAG with numbers.
Now in a 3v2, making a 2v2 of Skies. This is a huge one-on-one versus Slasher. Now with 35 seconds left, you have to worry about a player in your base, and they still do not have any information of where Dave Patty is going to be located. Let's see, with 25 seconds left, LAG, they say, hey, A is going to be way too hard to try to get this down. Let's try to rotate this over towards that B bomb, and Dave Patty might put himself in a great position to stop this plant.
Oh, he's got the sniper as well. Cheeky cheekies. He gets the foot. Okay, how about the head instead? Better solidify it. Huke is going to have to all be on to him, but Sky's up close and personal. AR or SMG. Bow down to Caesar as he'll win the 1v1 and keep the Mutineers rolling.
And that's just great plays coming in from Skies. Like, in that 3v2 situation, once Owakening gets taken down, you saw that he was that player in towards top church. Once Vivid got taken down towards middle, he immediately fills his gap, drops down in towards bottom mid. Even though when the Owakening drops in the man advantage, he wins a huge one-on-one versus that player towards the middle alley, forces it to be a 2v2. And then now in this 2v2 situation, they had the clock on their side. They know that they're not going to be at A as long as we wrap back towards B, even if they get the spawn planner. Even if they get the bomb planted down, if we make the man advantage in our favor, we should be able to close it out. Skies has another huge round, picks up 3.
LAG in much need of an answer. They send 2 through B, so that's going to be 2 at the command center. Expect to see at least one of those go in through well, especially if they get that information early. But how about Vivid, the aggressiveness again? And he can have 2 more. He's got at least 2 more in his sights. He goes for 1, knows that Ace is here, but it doesn't matter. Vivid for 3. already in position for what could be the ace and be his second one so far in this search and destroy, and he will get it.
The pacing that the young man is playing at, the confidence that has to be going through your veins to be that player on an offensive round, to jump in towards top church. He finds that first kill, but then you see LAG's game plan. All right, we got first blooded. Let's go for a late flank. He fully commits towards that push and catches both players pushing through P5. At that point, it's a 1v4. Vivid knows that the last player has to be playing over towards that A-bomb, comes up behind him, and that was an easy ace. Give him 2 so far in this search and destroy. He's having himself one hell of a performance. LAG simply do not have an answer.
Don't have an answer. Oh my! It's now going to be 5 in a row. Vivid having a wonderful time right now on Tuscan as that 6. You could tell he's hungry for it. Go for it, Vivid. I wouldn't blame you. Gets dropped, but his presence is somewhat felt on the other side for LAG. A frustrated type of moment. TJHaly takes down Gunless at 1v1, and the sniper is there. The sniper is there for the Mutineers. They can do no wrong. How about Dave, the rookie, with the ice?
Oh my God. Oh my God. That was such an insane round. Obviously, Vivid, he goes in that 2 spree, but for TJHaly to pick up the 40, to win the initial gunfight onto Gunless, and then turn around and perfectly read Slasher with that sniper, that was one of the most quickest rounds, one of the best search and destroy rounds that we've seen all year long. So flawless coming in from Florida. You can just tell that the confidence is in their vein as TJHaly once again opens up with that first blood onto aBeZy. Already had the man advantage.
Oh, the Mutineers are flying. They are soaring right now. Highlight play after highlight play. Aces aplenty. 1v2 clutches as well. As that bomb is now down at A, the neutral retakes continue to be the story for the Guerrillas. But that's the best way to start it off, as Gunless does get the opening pick. Guerrillas with clear vision over at this A site. TJHaly says, why don't you challenge me? Go for it. Watch what happens. LAG back on up, but 23 seconds left. Skies now brings it to a 2 versus 2. Gunless is going to be on the defuse. Somebody's going to challenge this. Somebody's going to challenge this. TJHaly fires out the shot, but it's not going to matter. Gunless does get the defuse right before he gets taken down. And there you have it. Guerrillas, finally, a moment to breathe. 5-2.
Able to stop the bleeding. It got a little scary there as well, because when you eliminate that player in Huke that was going to challenge the guys towards top fire, that's usually the clutch spot. But right there, LAG, they body stack onto the player that's defusing that bomb. And just in the nick of time before Gunless was eventually taken down, he does get that defuse. So they're able to stop the bleeding for now. Down 5-2 on the attack. TJHaly looks like he was able to spot Slasher. But aBeZy does get the first blood this go around onto Vivid. 4v3. They should be able to work this A plan here soon.
Nice little nade lineup there from Asim. Nothing doing. As for the Guerrillas, they've got the first pick that they have been looking for, and they'll also find the second. TJHaly managed to find another MP40 off the ground, as it's now all going to be on to Awakening. TJHaly does all the damage that he can, but now it comes down to Big Wake taking the head off of Slasher. The nade brings him down to 38 HP, but this giant is not going to go down just yet. He versus Gunless. LAG, back-to-back rounds.
Good for LAG, starting off with that first blood, just shutting down a player like Vivid. aBeZy, once he gets that man advantage, they're able to find that second kill onto Skies as well. TJHaly, he tries to be the playmaker through the middle of the map. On a 5 spree, unfortunately, he does get taken down. So LAG are trying to climb back into this game. So far, 2 in a row. Going back on the defensive side, I want to see the same exact aggression that we saw on their very first defense. Is allow Huke, allow aBeZy to just jump out towards the middle of the map, because right now you can just tell that Florida are playing with the utmost confidence.
At one point, it starts to get a little bit scary if you are the Mutineers. It was all fun and games through our first 6, but LAG, as we said, a veteran-type team will not go away. Another first blood as Vivid gets dropped. Asim on the answer. Instant 2 versus 4. Now make it a 1 versus 4.
Okay.
Down 5 rounds to 1, and LAG have brought this back to 5-4. As we said, Jay, The Vets not going down. It's Asim who has been so good at the start of these rounds as well. It is Huke who ends it out. As I said coming into this one, when does it start to get scary? What are the nerves like for the Mutineers?
Yeah, Florida, if I'm them, right now it's getting a little scary because you let 3 rounds in a row go to the favor of LAG. So now if you're the Guerrillas, just need this attacking round to force it to that round number 11. It all starts by getting that first blood. And that's been 3 rounds in a row where they have shut down Vivid and they have seen success. So now in the 3v4 situation, you have bomb towards this top P5 area. They just do not have mid-map control. As Dave Patty, he's ready for that A plant.
Dave Patty's ready for it. Guys narrowly escapes that engagement with 57 HP. So LAG, a moment to reestablish, a moment to put their heads together and figure out what it is that they want to do. Is it going to be a repush over at A, or will it be the rotation? We've got 2 players established in P5, and that could be the one choke point that Owakening has to hold. Huke jumps on through. Owakening peppering up players. At least takes down 1 for his efforts. Take a look at the play from Dave. It's Skies in the back of his base, trying to provide all the information that he can, but Dave, he gets dropped as well. He tried to make the cheeky play, but he gets dropped, and there goes Skies. Down 5-1. We're laughing. We're having a great time. Vivid's walking away with aces. Dave Patty is clutching with the sniper, but LAG have laughed their way back to a round 11.
4 in a row. It basically has all started. If you just get that first blood onto Vivid, you are seeing success so far in this S&D. Now we're going into a round 11. If you're Florida, you're definitely feeling the pressure a little bit, as you're gonna have LAG on the offense. You're gonna have Asim with that bomb in his hand. They're gonna slowly try to approach up those as a bomb site. But you see the teammates, the coordination coming in from Florida, unfortunately not able to get that the first blood this go around. They're just not trying to allow a player to drop early, as Dave Patty's trying to line up the shot.
Dave Vince to bring the sniper back out. So far, no information really gained. Oh, the opener was right there. Skies felt it. Seem able to stay alive. Knows that Dave still lingers
With the flank?
to the front side of field, but take a look at what could be the flank opportunity for Huke. But Vivid, he's able to read it. As we've said so often, if Vivid is alive, it is a scary time. If you're a Guerrillas fan, Dave as well hits the sniper right on cue. 2 versus 4, all up to Gunless and Asim. Can they find the pick? 25 seconds left, and that objective is gonna have to go down. There goes Gunless, and there goes Asim. Up 5-1, goes round 11, and the Mutineers making us all sweat it just for them to come away with the W.
Such an intense search and destroy between both of these teams. Obviously, Florida, they started up 5-1 in this game. They're probably saying like, all right, guys, we're going to be able to close this out pretty easy. But then LAG, they were just able to fight back into this game, pushes it all the way to around 11. And then it just comes down to Vivid not getting first blooded. Perfectly executed play out of Florida to work that late flank, because LAG, they were just trying to play slow towards that A bomb, trying to allow one of their teammates to eventually work a pick to try to get that first blood. But Vivid, he obviously is one of those aggressive SMG players. He's probably played that corner that Huke was sitting in multiple times. He works that late flank with his teammate, was able to find that first blood. Once you take fountain control, Dave Patty hits a huge one-on-one snipe versus Slasher, puts it into 4v2, and then eventually the collapse comes in towards the very end of that round for the Florida Mutineers to go up 2-0 in this series. But we have to go back. We have to go back and check that one play that came in from Vivid. It all started with Vivid being super aggressive towards his A-bomb. He gets this initial gunfight versus Asim, right? And then he works his way around the backside. He eventually was able to find the second kill after Huke takes down Sky, Slasher takes down Owakening. So now it's a 2v2. At this point, if you're Vivid, you're feeling yourself. I'm not mad at the challenge right here, because when you get 2 aces in a search and destroy, you can go for the Eagle Chow sometimes. But now in the 1v2 situation, Dave Patty, he missed the shot onto Gunless. He has his M40 in the back of his pocket, tries to jump up on the railing, but then snaps onto Gunless. And at this point, a perfectly executed read to line up the sniper shot onto Slasher. that was like a Harlem Globetrotters kind of round out there when it came to the search and destroy round. And even though it went all the way to around 11, that was still insane to watch.
I gotta say, Jay, that's one of my favorite search destroys of the year. Like, obviously, if you're the Mutineers, you're happy, but you're frustrated. If you're LAG, you're happy that you made the comeback, but you're still frustrated that you lost at round 11. A wild game. A wild game. Man. All kinds of clips are going to be coming from that search destroy in particular, but it is the Mutineers who ice up in overtime to now have the 2-0 advantage in this series. As we said, both of these teams, old school versus new school, both of them trying to rewrite the script to start off our Major II qualifiers. We'll see if the Mutineers can do it or if LAG can show us some life. When we come back after the break, it's time for Tuscan Control.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel, Victory in a can. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official broadcast communication partner of the Call of Duty League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Florida Mutineers versus the LA Guerrillas. And take a look at our game field tactical play, one of the two aces that you may have just missed out of that man, Vivid. Jay, Vivid was on one to start off this game.
Yeah, he did not slow down, based off of what we saw in that map number 1. To jump in towards top church with the super aggressiveness that he has, to get the ace, to start off with that first kill, and then to reflank both of those players that push through P5, you leave it to a 1v4. You know the positioning of the last player has to be towards that A bomb. Vivid just had himself one hell of a stellar performance in that S&D. Besides the couple rounds that he got first blooded. Every time that he got first blooded, they got shut down. But when he did it, he saw a lot of success. One hell of a performance out of the young man in that map number 2. But now we go into a Tuscan control. And on the side of Florida, they really enjoyed this map. You see the stats so far in this series. Sky's leading the way with a 1.2 KD. Awakening and Vivid both answering 1.17s. And even with Dave Patty dropping a 0.9, he put on an absolute clinic with that sniper in that map number 2. And when you take a look at our map records in between both of these teams, obviously Florida, they're sitting at 3-1. LAG are 0-2. So you can just tell right off the rip that Florida did win the coin toss. They were able to choose the control that they decide to play. And honestly, if Florida do not close it out here, this is where it could really get scary, because that map number 4, Berlin Hardpoint, is usually the bread and butter for LAG.
Yeah, that's what you and I said coming into this. It was like, okay, you got that Berlin Hardpoint if you're LAG. Don't go down 0-2, and you've got a really good chance of at least seeing a game 5. Well, it's not able to happen, despite forcing OT after being down 5-1 on this very map in Search Destroy. That still was not enough. But here we go into what could be the final game of our opening day of our Major II qualifiers. As we said, both of these rosters trying to turn it around, get off to a hot start after what was a lackluster Major 1 all the way around. It's the Mutineers starting things off quite nicely over at A. And so far, Jay, they've had a very good season in control, specifically on Tuscan. You saw the records. And I believe that what we also saw, they're the #1 team in attacking rounds on Tuscan as well. So that has been their success point so far. An opening attack in particular would be great. As you see Sky's starting to fumble around with that A objective, just trying to keep the time alive and trying to set up his teammates. As that A point will be in, it's now up to the Mutineers. 2 minutes on the clock. And we'll see if they can live up to that #1 attacking record as they will push in toward B.
Oh, well, they're able to find 2 kills right off the rip. So they're eventually able to get on towards this point. Vivid trying to work his way through the back. He's able to eliminate 2 players from that side of the map. But right now, Florida trying to complete this first tick of progression. Gunless is going to slide in just in the nick of time. Skies finds 1. A teammate unfortunately comes in for LAG. First tick of progression is going to be there, but Asim and Slash are able to find 2 to slow down that pressure for the time being.
Oh, nice shot there from Vivid. Does not want to let this one go empty-handed. He and Dave right there in coordination with each other. It's Dave who wins the fight up close, but again, the team nades will continue to be the problem. Despite the nades coming in from either end, Slasher has got some words for Skies. 2 ticks are in for the Mutineers, and we still have 1:48 in this round. A lot of time to work with if you are the Mutineers. You're also sitting quite nicely in the life count as well. You can add on another one toward the Mutineers camp as it's Awakening, now sitting in the back of the base of LAG. They'll sit firmly on the tank and allow for the Guerrillas' lives to be that much more difficult. So Awakening in the back, nobody pressuring him yet. And so wait for a few of his teammates to come off spawn and hopefully join him here at some point.
Yeah, all of LAG, they're just focused on the players that are spawning all the way across the map. They said, Awakening, you can sit in the back of our spawn, looking nice and dandy. We're not even going to worry about you. We're going to try to set up for these spawn kills as they're only going to be down 2 lives. Asim trying to do everything he can to hold down B5, but unfortunately he's going to drop. But look at #6 in Gunless. Sets up on the repitch, is able to take down one before he eventually gets taken down. And now Awakening, it's your turn to get into play. He's able to hop on the point. He's eventually going to get taken down by Huke at the nade. So now with a minute left, LAG are able to hold the line for the time being, down 2 lives.
And Awakening at the very least gets the final laugh at that engagement. He eventually gets involved in the fight, takes one down from the back. So LAG down by 2 in lives. They absolutely can do this, but take a look at player number 4. It's Vivid again on the flank, pressuring in toward the backside of Church. 3 fall and a moment's notice. Guerrillas with no respawns left as the time will halt at 38 seconds. It's going to be a temporary stack. Nobody from LAG looks to be here in time. As we said, the Mutineers with the #1 record in attacks on Tuscan, and they live up to it, walking away with the opener.
That was so good out of Florida, especially to start off with that A point the way that they did. We've been seeing a lot of these teams. The only team we've actually seen do it was Atlanta FaZe, where you're just jiggling that first time to allow your teammates to eventually get pushed up closer on the map. Once eventually they were able to secure that A point, you already see that they had top green control. They had top radio. They almost had top plat until the very last seconds where LAG were able to hold it. But there was just so much pressure coming in from Florida through middle church. You had Skies of Vivid popping 2 pieces left and right, just being nuisances in the spawns of LAG to eventually secure that offensive round. So now if you're LAG, you need to try to respond with an offensive of their own, as they're already putting early pressure on towards A. First second progression is going to be there. A lot of the trades going back and forth, but Florida, they're going to put on the pressure to this A point. They're not going to try to give this up easy.
Oh, and a great play from Wake, finding 2. 1 off of spawn and 1 in the objective. Mutineers trying to halt any of that early gain that it feels like the attacking team is just guaranteed to get over at that A objective. So 2 at A and 1 over at B as Simp gets dealt with again. Nice shots coming through from Dave Patty, stopping what would have been a nice little sequence granted for Guerrillas as Huke drops inside a church. Meanwhile, that A objective will continue to fly. Mutineers outside of that 1 lane over at A seem to be dominating most parts of the map, at least in a few of the engagements that we've got to see. But 2 minutes, LAG will see what they can try to come up with. I know we've talked about it a lot, partner. As the game might have froze. Maybe not. Maybe for us. What's happening? What's happening, Jay?
There we go. All right, we're back.
We're back. We're back in the game. I thought I did that. I might have unplugged something.
Yeah, it's all good. Don't worry. We're back in the game.
It's all my fault.
So that right now, LAG, they are just on the attack, just trying to set up for this control around P5. You have a couple players who are here. 1 player in Dave Patty who eventually is going to get stiffed out. So now this opens up top plat. It opens up top radio for LAG to try to find the opening to get off towards this B point.
Oh,
way that Florida set up. Unfortunate teammate comes in to slow down that pressure.
Asim's looking at Huke saying, God, what's going on, brother?
What are we doing?
Happening? What are we doing right now? We're in P5 and Huke takes down 2. He hit Slasher, or at least able to drop half of the Mutineers team. By the way, that little glitch that we had, it was just for us, not on the players. So don't worry, folks. Don't be tweeting at us. Nothing happened. It's all good. But here we go. 50 seconds left. Lives currently tied as Awakening soaring in toward radio. And take a look at player number 4, Vivid, is going to be given all of this information. Knows they're spawning at the roofs. And oh boy, this could be the play. This could be what ruins this round. Great trigger discipline for 2. Wipes away most of the Guerrillas. And now they will have to halt this push and prepare for 1 final one. As here comes the opener. Nice job there from Asim as Dave Patty's there for the trade.
Oh, Dave Patty goes so big to find every single kill of the pressure coming in from LAG toward top plat. 1 last push from the Guerrillas was there, and Dave Patty just says, nuh-uh, not on my watch. So with 5 seconds left, if you're LAG, you do not want to go down even more in the kill department, as Vivid still holding down P5, is able to find another 2 kills. And right now, Florida, they are just clicking on all cylinders, man. Right there, Vivid, perfectly timed execution on that late flank to find those 2 kills. But then all comes down to Dave Patty. He shuts down that final push on towards plat, finds every single kill to eventually close out the round right now for Florida. This looks like a completely different team. They win the first hard point by 10 points. They clutch up in the search and destroy for the very first time on Tuscan S&D. Put themselves up 2-0 in this series, and so far they have just been in control of this control map, up 2-1 round from closing out this series.
And what's been the biggest difference maker? I mean, I feel like it's been Vivid, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the guys
it has to.
It hasn't been the greatest Major 1 form. I mean, what, kind of in the 0.9 range, maybe still trying to get a feel for this new Mutineers team. And so far, he has been electric. A great bocage. We talk about the aces that he's able to have. Also has a great round 11 as well. Vivid has turned up and given this Mutineers team something else to work with. I thought for a moment there was going to be some disrespect at the top of the church. Meanwhile, Everything's somewhat calm for the time as the Mutineers continue to trade out, but overall are walking away with these engagements over at A. Huke will try to pause things for the time, able to wipe away one. Gets away with his life, but only for a second. Awakening there for the trade as the Mutineers just moments away from capturing that objective and getting another minute added to the clock in what could be the final round of this series.
And just look at the minimap. Already, number 4 in Vivid is thinking about the big picture. He takes control of P5, should be able to open up that initial gunfight onto Huke. Now it's time to put on the pressure. He is going to get red, though. Eventually does get taken down, but this opens up so many lanes for his teammates to try to push through bottom church. Awakening on the chase, able to pick up that kill onto Slasher. Now your focus point has to be on aBeZy, who's just roaming around the middle of the map. But right now, Florida do have plat control. They can just full send it if they can win a couple of these gunfights.
Got plenty of time to work with. Down in lives, but as we said, this team's so great and attacking so far on Tuscan. We'll see if they can give us another one. Awakening looking to lead the way. Currently sits on a spree, but it doesn't matter as that's going to be 5. Nearly turns for the 6th, but it's guys to pick up from where Big Wake leaves off. Minute 18. Vivid inside a church. He and Awakening look to get grouped up together, but it's a scene who's at least able to halt the push for the time. They'll wait for Dave to come off of spawn. Vivid looks for his opportunity, but not able to seize it. Back and forth we go, but the Mutineers yet to get a full 4-man lineup inside of the point. Big Wake will give it another go. They'll seize the opportunity again. That's going to be 2. 2 fall for the moment. Player number 7 in the back lines is still hanging out. Mutineers will hop on the objective and try to pause it for the moment, but they get traded out again. LAG staying alive, but this could be the moment for Dave.
Such a big kill coming in from Dave Patty to find that player that came off spawn. So now this is gonna turn the focus of a couple LAG players. At least you would think so, because they are just putting all their focus on the last push coming in from the remaining of the Florida players. Coming from the front side, Skies is able to take down 2. Eventually, Dave Patty has to get into this play. Skies takes down 3. So the last player is going to be there. It's going to be gunless. A huge one-on-one towards top plat. And Dave Patty's in a position to at least play for a couple spawn kills.
On Vivid, Awakening, both inside a church. It's a 1v1 inside a church. It's also a 1v1 toward the back alley. LAG walk away with both of those. And with the life count sitting the way that it is, it could be the Mutineers who decide to sit this one out as the final kills come on through. Florida will allow that one to sit. Not going to go for the challenges, at least at the objective. They do lose a few fights in P5, but the Guerrillas will halt another attacking victory from Florida. Get one on the board. And I don't know about you, Jay, but one player that I'm looking at, if LAG wants to walk away with this comeback, it's aBeZy. It's got to be aBeZy, I feel like. I mean, what the amount of plays that he's been able to make on this control map in particular has been the reason why LAG have gotten to round 5s. The reason why they have won controls. Can aBeZy be the difference maker? We'll still start things off with the first blood.
And I completely agree with you. If they want to force it to a round number 5, aBeZy has to try to go big in this round number 4. And keep in mind, they were able to at least outslay by a couple kills in that previous round. So Florida should be leading in the kill department by at least 2 of the 3 kills. So the early aggression coming in. Florida able to shut down that pressure towards that A point. They're finding every single kill in the feed. So now if you're LAG, you have to try to work out of your spawn, but they're just putting so much pressure on. They're not allowing any players any breathing room.
Oh, and Vivid's got dead silence on. He is flying. He is flying as well. Takes down Gunless. Awakening also finds Slasher 3 down. And 30 seconds already wiped away off of the clock. LAG thinking about a rotation, and Vivid says, oh yeah, that's where I want you to go anyway. He is manipulating every piece on this chessboard of Tuscan, as Skies will earn the glide bomb in the meantime. It is just a number of different players from the Mutineers team that are performing, ends things out at 9. But take a look at those lives. Even if the Guerrillas can capture that A objective, they're going to be depleted and then some. Maybe a moment to breathe, but Skies again. 25 and 14. For whatever reason, the Mutineers do not want to give away this A objective, and Skies will not allow for them to. 35 on the clock, and the Guerrillas cannot even break out of their base. Oh my goodness.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. 29 lives remaining as 24 seconds is eventually going to come to a stop as LAG, with 6 lives remaining, are able to get onto a safe point. But this is where the glide comes in. If you are Skies, you want to try to invest this. They're going to take that player down towards the middle of the alley because that opens up the late flank coming in from Dave Patty. He takes down one. Only 4 lives remaining for LAG. Florida are dominating so far, trying to close it out here.
They are indeed. 3 more lives for LAG before this could be a 3-0 sweep. 2 of them fall in stride. It's all on to Big P. A 1 versus 17, and you can kiss this series good night. The Mutineers, a hot 3-0 in their opening Major II campaign. The best way to start it off, and what a series it was. Excellent plays all the way around, and as we said, Jay, a huge opportunity, a huge opening for either of these rosters to try and right the wrongs. Coming into these Major II qualifiers, the Mutineers answer the call and then some. A phenomenal performance on this Tuscan control to walk away with the sweep.
Such a great series from start to finish from Florida. To make the adjustments on that map number 1, to go up 5-1 in the search and destroy, and then eventually close it out in the round 11. They're probably going to go back and look at that S&D like, hey, we could have cleaned up a couple of these rounds. Still happy that they were able to walk away with the win, though. But when you get towards this control, they started off this map by opening it up with an offense. Usually on control, when you're winning an offense to start the game, you're going to be able to at least see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's a victory in control. But that last defensive round from Florida, it all comes on the back of Skies. Because keep in mind, on their last offensive round, Skies ended that round on a 4 spree. He was able to hold down P5, so he was working towards those kill streaks towards the very end. He was able to pick up 5 kills in the very next round to give him that glide bomb to work with. And you've seen the amount of pressure that what Florida were able to put on towards the middle of the map. When your ARs are frying like this, you can just tell your SMGs were playing the timings beautifully. The fact that Vivid knew every single timing of the players that were coming off spawn on the offensive side through that middle alley, read it beautifully every single time. They were just putting non-stop pressure on the map, just keeping the kills stagnant, just forcing LAG to try to set up a push with uneven numbers. And usually in control, you're not going to see a lot of success from that. Florida, they came out and made a statement today in such a great series from them. Dominant 3-0 to start off stage 2, 1-0.
Yeah, man, a great statement game for the Mutineers as they walk away with a 3-0 sweep. They clutch up in the hard point. They walk away with the search destroy after being up 5-1. They get it done in OT versus the Vets, and they also walk away with the control 3-1. Obviously, it's positives if you are on the Mutineers end, but for LAG, drenched in despair right now. That is 4 series in a row lost, and that will now be 8 maps in a row lost as well. Not a great moment right now if you are this Guerrillas roster, Jay. We talked about a huge opportunity, the veto side of things as well, but not able to get it done. And I don't know, man. It just seems as if something is off right now with this LAG team.
Yeah, it's tough for LAG because this is a series that definitely could have went either way. 10-point hard point in that map number 1. For them to fight back in that game number 2, 5 rounds straight to force it all the way to around 11, it tells that they just started off early into that game just not using their strategies to the best of their ability, not getting those first bloods. And once they started getting a little more comfortable in that S&D, they were starting to chain a couple rounds together, but they still lose the game 5 search and the game round 11 search and destroy. And now when you go to the control, this is where they need to show a big improvement because obviously they see a lot of success on Gavutu, but Tuscan is definitely going to be on the opposite side of the control map. And just the way that they came out and lose their opening defense, you could not allow that to happen. They just allowed the SMGs to basically do whatever they wanted. You need to allow your SMGs in Asym and Huke to basically do what Vivid was doing. Just run around with your head cut off, blocking these spawns, getting great timings, and that's not what happened so far. LAG starting off stage 2, not the way they wanted to, but like you said, as they go down throughout the rest of this stage, they should have a couple easier matches to try to get underneath their belt.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, it is still early so far at our Major II qualifiers, but let's bring back in the desk. Guys, what a series it was. I felt like it was a very fast day. I'm not sure how many people predicted that, but the Mutineers walked away with the 3-0 sweep.
Yeah.
My man Vivid was going off, Velly.
You're right. It was a fast day, but you know, we don't complain about that, okay? But I will say this, matter of fact, more and more as time progresses and the season goes on longer and longer, right? We're starting to see a lot more faster control games. And aLLeY, speaking about that, right? You actually said, you know, I got to get something off my chest right now when it comes to Tuscan. What do you want to lay on this?
I guess I just kind of want to open this conversation. Ant will probably have a lot to say about this and probably completely disagree with me. But I want to know, why are players so afraid of back aLLeY on B side? If you're going to send a player over to contest B to try and pull some sort of presence from the enemy squad, usually a player makes it by, right? And the corner they always play is near back aLLeY, where you have free real estate to get shot from radio, to get shot from long. The only gunfight you're playing for is the close one when they push up from spawn, or you're gonna get shot in the back. Why not send a player bottom from staircase, pre-aiming back of spawn? That way, top radio player, he's searching corners to see where you're at, or he's gonna jump over your head. You're gonna win the gunfight from spawn because the guy, first of all, doesn't expect you to be staring him in the face from staircase, and you can jiggle peek long, throw a stun to see if there's any presence over there and keep pre-aiming the back spawn. I feel like so many players are playing that back aLLeY like they're so afraid of the contest.
Yeah.
When your job is just to make a presence, maybe attempt to get a tick. So why not put yourself in a more favorable position to win the gunfight?
And I will say this, we have seen a lot of the gameplay evolve when it comes to control as well, right? You know, as teams were sending one player to cap a hill, now we're starting to see more and more people to start to cap hills and things like that. And control games are going by way too fast now, and I actually like it, man. Teams are actually starting to capitalize on that. Let's capitalize on the game field post-victory spotlight with the one and only Skies, the man that had a fantastic map. Congratulations on your big win, and how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Like, going in, we were warming up against Toronto. We were actually like playing really good on our Bokas and our respawns. We were like using really good teamwork. So I had a weird gut feeling we were gonna fry today.
All right.
All right, well, I have to ask you, so coming off of Major 1, there's clearly a bit of a pacing issue between the ARs and the SMGs, but it seemed like you were all on the same page today. I wanted to know what kind of went in for that to make that change.
I'm not sure. Like, every single time we scrim, like, we're always really, really good in scrims, just like translating it. I guess like the game slows down a little bit, but I'm not really sure. If we translate our scrims to our matches, like, we'd actually be a top team. I feel like the only thing we got to work on too as well is like our search. And our search, like, we're all S&D players, and we'll eventually figure it out, but I have confidence in our respawns.
Yes, guys, congratulations on the win in 3-0 fashion. That's wonderful. Also, you close it out with a great control. But I wanted to ask you about your search and destroy. So it seems like, you know, look at your search record. Obviously, it's not the best. I mean, 3-6 now, but you guys have had some really, really close calls in search and destroy, and particularly like in the last few, you've went up 3, 4, almost 5 rounds sometimes, and teams are coming back and pushing it to the very end. What's happening in the middle of those games? Like, what is the change-up that's allowing these teams to come back and search?
Honestly, it's pretty simple. I feel like we do the stuff that's working, but then like we just try to play way too safe after we have the lead instead of like sticking to our normal stuff. But like, I think we just realized after that, we're like, yo, we were switching our stuff up for no reason, and we just got to keep doing what we were doing when we got the lead.
Hey, Skies, I just want to say, man, my first time watching you play in person was at the Kickoff Classic, where you start off the series going crazy, and seeing you do that again, man, you're special. Keep it up. I wish you in Florida the most success this year, and can't wait to interview you guys again, man. Hope you have a great day. And once again, congrats.
I appreciate that, bro. You're the fucking go, man. Oh,
I tried, man. No, you cuss when you say that. Let them know.
Fucking go, bro.
Thank you, man. I'll pay part of your fine. You good? But yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you.
I have a good one.
No problem. Yeah, Florida being able to close it out against LAG, though, I will say this, Nameless. Looking at this team progress, they're showing sparks of really good moments with them, and they can fix that S&D. Even seeing flashes of Dave Patton and Wake.
Yeah, no, the reason I'm not particularly super hype right now is I'm going to take that with a grain of salt because they did get their 2 best respawn maps. I think that I don't think LAG did a great job allowing Bocage to get through in that series. It's just unacceptable map to play Florida on. And also Tuscan's been their other respawn they've been fantastic at in terms of control. But across the board and every single other map, they're either even or just absolutely negative, right? So there's still a lot that Florida needs to work on. They have not proven much to me at all, and we also saw a ton of mistakes on the side of LAG. Right? They made it a little bit easier on them than they should have. So we'll see going forward where Florida gets to. But in search and destroy, they closed it out today, right? They didn't let the team come back and win. So that is definitely the one big takeaway I have is that Vivid was popping off, getting pushed up, and they definitely adjusted in that last round to get the win.
Yeah, and aLLeY, let's talk about it. Dave Patty put on a highlight reel today.
Yo, that 1v2 with the MP40 in hand and the sniper, that was so gross. You cannot be letting Dave Patty do that to you, man. He's leaned up like this, like, oh, I got these kids with the MP40 in my secondary right now. That was gross.
It was. Now, also, today was gross because we actually had some good matches along the way. Gotta say, coming back from land and being treated to games like this is always fantastic. But the first matchup of the day was the London Royal Ravens. They faced off against the New York Subliners in Nameless. This was pretty one-sided, even with a substitute in for Gizmo.
Yeah, I mean, New York Subliners are now 0-12 in hardpoint. I honestly don't know if there's ever been a team that has been that bad at hardpoint in like professional COD. I don't remember it, especially with players like Crim and Clay on it, and then also HyDra, who's been popping off. Like, that is just a foundational issue. This team does not work. They need to make a change, but that's sort of been the running storyline for the New York Subliners. We got to show some love to the London Royal Ravens. These guys are incredible. Like, Paul X comes in to substitute for Gizmo, who has been like their star player. Now, granted, he didn't like pop off at the last event, but they all talk about how he's like the glue for the squad, him and Zero, and he has the big gunfight wins that gives them the map control. Well, Paul X comes in and they do exactly what they need to do. Afro had a crazy series. Zero had his moments. This team is the real deal.
And they're young too, aLLeY. The more and more that this team grows, I mean, top 3 already at a fantastic major. I mean, what does the future hold for him?
And nothing but bright. I will never forget what Zero said the very first interview we had with him. He said, I'm always on a top 4 squad by the end of the year. Well, you're already on a top 4 squad, and it's the beginning of the year. So, again, I wouldn't be surprised if they won a chip.
You got that right. And the second matchup of the day was between Seattle Surge and Boston Breach. And I'm going to be completely honest. I was hoping that we would see Seattle Surge pop off and get back to their old ways. But aLLeY, that wasn't the case as Boston just went ahead and ran away with the dub.
Boston just continuously to look better, right? And Cap especially is maturing so much as a player. And we're all getting front row seats to watch it develop. And TJ, I feel like he's really being able to showcase what he's able to do on this roster. And overall, just a really good fit.
Yeah, you know, what we highlighted prior to the match was Seattle Surge, when they're in a bad position on the map, how they regain map control, and it was not improved in this series whatsoever. I mean, you look back at to the first map, and Pred started off incredibly slow, and they did not have a single rotation for like 4 or 5 hills. That's unacceptable on the side of Seattle Surge. They have so much talent on this team, but to talk a little bit about the Boston Breach, I think this event was perfect for them. They got so many reps, and coming home, we saw everybody play even better than what we expected, right? TJ had some great moments. You're talking about Capsidal, he breaks the kill record. Bokaji's playing so confident, and then also their search and destroy. Remember, it started off so hot during Stage 1 qualifiers, sort of tapered off towards the end. Then they went 3-3 at the event. Well, today, it was flawless execution in search and destroy. Like, they were so much more confident. Capsidal to play by himself on that island, flank around. Like, he was making the plays, dude. And then also Methodz in that clutch 1v1 against Accuracy. That was a huge 1v1 win. Like, versus Accuracy, a lot of people get shook in those 1v1s. He had the position of power. Methodz guns him down, charges him, gets the timing on the bomb. Like, that's confidence. That's what it comes down to.
You got that right. Speaking of confidence, I hope Seattle finds theirs, because with this roster, I mean, usually when teams struggle like this, we all say, hey, team change, team change. This team is perfect, man. They just have to get it together. The IGL and also Sam have to get together and make that thing work. But also, let's go ahead and make this ending work. Let's take a look at the standings and also the points right now. Atlanta FaZe are on top, obviously, aLLeY, with 100 points. But they're not too far about Texas, OpTic Texas, excuse me, at 95 points.
Absolutely, and one that's going to stand out to me is going to be Toronto Ultra. They're sitting right below Boston Breach, a little bit lower than we would have had them sitting in the beginning of the year, but we're heading into Major II, so things are going to get shaken up just a bit.
And taking a look at the bottom side of the screen, Paris Legion, New York Subliners sitting there with 10 points each, and LAG right in front of them, barely. I mean, the battle for the top is really close between the top 3, but the battle at the bottom is starting to look a bit worrisome, especially with the quality of players.
You got to get some W's, man. It's all about seeding going into a major.
Yeah.
You got to start in winner's bracket. You got to give yourself 2 chances. And we saw some teams make some pretty hefty losers bracket runs, so you just need to get those reps, and you need to get comfortable. Like, the first series on land can be stressful, right? Like, you can just lose and be like, that is not how we want to play. And you come back stronger, make the run. So these guys right now, they can get back into the top 8. If New York, Paris, LAG, these teams don't start getting wins, there's going to be way more separation. It's going to be too difficult.
Yes, now let's go ahead and look at tomorrow's schedule as well, because this weekend we're coming back and we are right back at it. The Game Fuel marquee matchup of the day will be between Minnesota Røkkr and also Toronto Ultra, and I actually wanted to comment about him because Minnesota Røkkr will be hosting the next major and Toronto Ultra, even though they're not top 2 like we're used to seeing them, this team right here, aLLeY, I mean, they can win an event at any given moment, and I'm waiting for them to really pop off seriously.
Top 4 without winning a hard point. I mean, that's all you really have to say for this squad is you know they're nasty, and you know they'll figure out hard point by at the end of the day. But the team I'm really excited to see has to be Paris Legion and all of the roster moves that they've been making.
Yes, now also for Major II, make sure you guys go and get those tickets, because that OpTic Texas land that we just had was phenomenal. I mean, no cap here on the desk. Nameless has said it, aLLeY has said it, even Chance did as well. It was the livest event that they've gone to, and these guys have gone to a lot of them. It's going to take place at the end of the month, March 31st to April 3rd. Get those tickets ASAP, and aLLeY, it's not just going to be pro play there.
No, it's going to be challenger play as well, which we have not seen in forever. I think it's been 2 seasons without any LAN challenger play, so I know I'm super hyped to go stand in that sweaty gauntlet.
By the way, for everybody out there, at the end of the day, we all love Call of Duty, right? Make sure you always support Tier 2, okay? Because those guys are always going to be next up. And from the play that we see from rookies such as Capsidal, Nasty, Gizmo, I mean, that is the future of Call of Duty. So let's go and support them and watch their upbringing just a little bit. But today was fantastic. Being back in the office with everybody, I mean, it's been a blast. The Texas Major was fantastic. The Røkkr Major is going to be next. And all in between, we're going to have amazing qualifier matches. We'll see you guys tomorrow at the same place and the same time. We love you, and we'll catch you next time for more Call of Duty action.